Hi, my name is Miranda. I'm going to address the forward tilt position of the pelvis. So when the back is overarched, I'm exaggerating here, pelvis is tipped forwards, and it can lead to back problems, pain in the hips, all sorts of other things. Maybe it's just a posture imbalance for you and you don't feel pain now, but you may do at some point in the future. So first of all, just to see if you have got this position, it's a good thing to do to stand against a wall. And if you have the whole of your body against the wall, and then put your hand behind your back, so the flat of your hand, and you should be able to just slide your hand in behind your back, and it should be snug. If you can flap your hand around, then you are tipping your pelvis forwards. So just while you're standing here, just engage your tummy muscles a little bit. If you feel that there's a flappiness behind your back, engage your tummy muscles a little bit and push back into your hand so that the hand is firm behind you. And just take a moment to observe how that is. Because this position comes from a lack of engagement, so in the abdominals, in the glutes, both weak. And hamstrings, again, are weak. They're actually allowing us to tip forwards, but they might feel tight. So sometimes it's very easy to think, oh, I must stretch my hamstrings, but actually they need to be strengthened. And there's a tightness in our hip flexors, the front of the hips, in our quads, and in our back. So the erector spinae, the main muscle that goes up the back. So we're going to address these muscles. Come onto your back, first of all. So lying down. And just first of all, bring your knees in towards your chest. It's a lovely stretch for the back. Bring your knees in towards your chest and hug. And rock from side to side. Just give your back a nice massage here. And then let go. And have your hands either on the knees or on the thighs, but they don't even have to be, so don't feel that they have to be anywhere, but they can feel nice to be there. And we're going to circle the knees. So bring the knees in towards you, separate them, take them away from you, and back together again. So 2 circles with the knees. And these circles, you want to make them as big or as small as feels right for you. So just listen to how that feels. So it's bringing movement and freedom to the hips. And when we do lots of sitting, our hips can become so tight. So just observing. You should feel a little bit of a gentle engagement in the abdominal muscles here too. A bit of massage in the lower back. And then take those circles in the other direction. And then finishing that, bring your feet onto the floor. Feet hip distance apart. Arms by your sides. I'm going to do pelvic tilts, which is a really lovely way to bring balance to the pelvis. So we're going to go through the 2 extremes, pelvis tipped forwards and pelvis tipped back. So first of all, take a deep breath in. When you're ready to exhale, tip your pelvis back so your lower back presses firmly into the floor. You'll feel your tummy muscles engage. Squeeze your pelvic floor 2. Then inhale, tip your pelvis forwards, a little arch happens in your lower back, relaxing your pelvic floor. And keep going, so pelvis tips back on the exhale, pressing your lower back into the floor, squeeze your pelvic floor. Inhaling, pelvis tips forwards, relax the pelvic floor. And keep going with that. Pelvic floor too tends to be slack when we have this pelvis tipped forward position. So just engaging your pelvic floor here will really help improve the tone of your pelvic floor as well. So your exhale, you're tipping your pelvis back, lower back presses down, squeeze the pelvic floor, just observe, don't rush before breathing in again. So the inhale, your pelvis tips forwards, relaxing the pelvic floor, feel the belly muscles, tummy muscles relax. A few more times. Just really getting a sense of these 2 extremes, the backward tilt, the forward tilt. And then the next time we come back with the backward tilt, we're going to hold it. So tip your pelvis back, squeeze your pelvic floor a little, but don't grip it, but just a gentle engagement. And hold. Press your lower back down into the floor. Really stay there, breathing. Make sure the shoulders, your neck are relaxed. And just observe that engagement again, tummy muscles. And it does restrict the breath a bit to be engaging tummy muscles more. So the breath is more restricted, being aware of that. Just getting that sense of engagement. And relax. So coming to neutral, just check that you're not tipping your pelvis forward. So just tip your pelvis back a little bit. But don't actually press it down into the floor. So just tip it back a little bit. And bring your hands onto your hip bones. We're going to engage the abdominals. So it's the lower abdominals particularly that are very weak when we have this forward tilt. So inhale. Exhale when you're ready to. Attempt to draw your hip bones towards each other. You should feel your belly flattening, so it's engaging the deepest of the abdominals. Inhale, relax. The hands are observing what's going on. Exhale when you're ready to. Attempt to draw your hip bones towards each other. So again, you should feel a flattening in your belly. Inhale, relax. And keep going with that. So just exhaling, hip bones draw towards each other. Another way to explain this is actually if you visualize that corset is being tightened around your middle on the exhale. So as you exhale, there's that narrowing of the waist and flattening of the belly. So if the hip bones towards each other image doesn't work, visualize the corset. Exhaling, hip bones towards each other, belly flattens. And if you've got that and you really feel that's happening for you, you can just take it a stage further. So next time you exhale, hip bones towards each other, belly flattens, lift your right foot off the floor. Inhale, bring the foot back down. Exhale, hip bones towards each other, belly flattens, lift the left foot off the floor. Inhale, back down. And again, keep going. Just firing up these deep abdominals, which is very easy for us to neglect and focus on the more superficial ones. But these are the much more supportive, stabilizing layer. Roughy by my feet, very roughy. So letting go, both feet on the floor, arms by your sides. I'm going to do a bridge movement, so a rolling bridge. Make sure your shoulders are away from your ears, arms by your sides. Take a deep breath in. And exhale, tip your pelvis back. And this time roll up into a bridge. Peel your spine up off the floor, one vertebra at a time. Together up onto your shoulders. Inhale, observe, just staying here. Bottom muscles and thigh muscles will be working. Inhaling. Exhale, roll slowly back down again. One vertebra at a time. As much as you can. Really moving vertebra by vertebra. Inhaling at the bottom. Exhale when you're ready to again. Tip your pelvis back and press each vertebra into the floor before coming up off the floor. Again, inhale. Maybe you feel you want to come up a little higher on that inhale. It's a bit of a stretch to the front of the hips, which is great. Exhale when you're ready to again roll one vertebra at a time to come back down. And again, one more time, but we need to stay up next time. So exhaling, tip your pelvis back, roll up into bridge. Inhale, come up a little higher. And just stay here for a moment, observe. You can squeeze your buttocks, squeeze your glutes. See if you can notice how that gives you a little bit more lift in the front of the hips. So when buttocks are strong, we don't tip forward so much here. Or if we're feeling tight in the front of the hips, squeezing our glutes can be really helpful. And then we're going to do glute bridge, so just working the glutes a little bit more here. So inhale, drop your hips a little bit. Exhale, lift up higher. Inhale, drop a little. Exhale, lift higher. Inhale, drop a little, keep going. As you lift higher, you'll feel those bottom muscles working. And come back down. And bring both knees in towards your chest and hug. And rock from side to side. And if you keep your right knee in and slide your left leg along the floor, draw that right knee and snuggle it in as much as it comes. So it's a stretch the whole of the back and around the buttocks. And push your left foot away and press down with your left thigh. So it's this gentle stretch in the front of your left hip. Just observe that stretch in the front of that left hip and the spaciousness you're creating in that hip socket as you push that foot away. And breathe deeply. Breathe through the nose. It's much healthier to breathe through the nose, always if you can. I've got lots of breathing videos, exercise showing you how and why. But just breathing through the nose, breathing slowly. Just slow, deep breaths really encourage our muscles to let go. And if you're not getting very much of a stretch here in the front of that left hip, you can progress to moving on where you lift, bring something comfortable underneath your hips, underneath the pelvis, so you feel supported. And it just then means as you bring your right knee in, there's a bit more of a stretch in the front of your left hip. But just if this is the first time, just observing this now. And then we're going to change. So straighten that leg, bring the left knee in. So again, hug that knee in towards you, push the right foot away, press down with your thigh, and breathe. So just encouraging a gentle stretch here. We're going to do more stretches, deeper stretches, but just a gentle stretch to begin with. Long deep breaths as you push that foot away, press down with the thigh, and observing again that spaciousness that you're creating in that hip socket. Breathing through the nose, deep breaths. And these muscles at the front of the hip are very responsive to anxiety and stress, which can cause that pelvis tilt forwards as well. So equally, it's very responsive to the breath when the breath is long and slow and deep. It'll relax more. And let go. We're going to come over on top belly now. So roll over. Coming onto your front. And make a pillow with your hands. Legs straight out behind you, front of the feet on the floor. And then when you're ready to, inhale, reach your way and up with your right leg. Exhale, come down. Inhale, left leg. Exhale, come down. Inhale, right leg. Exhale, down. Inhale, left leg. Exhale, down. Keep going. A few more times. And what we're doing here is we're strengthening the back of the legs, the hamstrings, and we're strengthening the glutes. And just notice how when these muscles are engaging, the front of the hip is letting go. And one more time each side. And then stay. And just demonstrate this more. You inhale here and exhale, squeeze your buttocks. Notice how the front of the hips release closer to the floor. Inhale, relax. Exhale, squeeze your buttocks. Inhale, relax. One more time. Exhale, squeeze your buttocks. Inhale, relax. And this can be a nice thing just to know and to understand when you're feeling tight in front of the hips. If you squeeze your glutes, your buttocks, it'll just help to release. So coming up into Sphinx pose, up on your elbows. Elbows underneath your shoulders, shoulders away from your ears, breastbone reaching forwards, make sure your neck is relaxed. And again, we're just going to squeeze the buttocks a little bit here because you've come into a little bit more of a stretch in front of the hips. If you're very tight here, it might be feeling more tight and put pressure into your lower back. So inhale, exhale, squeeze your buttocks. Inhale, relax. Exhale, squeeze your buttocks. Inhale, relax. If it feels uncomfortable in your lower back, you can have your elbows further forwards, which makes the back bend just gentler. Or you can put something underneath your hips just to reduce the curve of the lower back. So it's the blanket or cushion. So squeeze your glutes. Inhale, relax. And then we're going to come up onto hands and knees. Spread your fingers and do what I call an outward wave with your hands, which is that with the hands, but they don't actually move. It just helps to make sure your shoulders are in a lovely broad open position. So outward wave with the hands, shoulders away from your ears, and straighten your right leg. Reach away with your right heel and draw your belly up towards your spine. It's very easy here to tip the pelvis forwards if that's the habit you normally have. So draw your belly up. Inhale. Exhale, flatten your belly more, raise your right leg. Inhale, bring the foot to the floor. Exhale, flatten your belly more, raise the leg. Inhale, foot down. Exhaling up. Keep going. So again, we're strengthening the back of the leg, bottom muscles, your glutes, also tummy muscles. And the next time you come up, stay here. If you're happy to, you can take the arm off the floor too. So outward way with the hands, push the floor away with the hands, and take your left arm forwards and turn the palm to the right. And breathe. Breathing through the nose. And look down at the floor so your neck is in a nice comfortable position rather than looking forwards. And take the hand to the floor, knees to the floor. Come up off your hands for a moment. Your wrists get a little bit tired. It's a nice moment to give them a rest. And the other direction in a circle. And bring your hands back down to the floor again. Again, spread your fingers, outward way with the hands. And straighten your left leg. Reach away with your left heel. Draw your belly up towards your spine. So that's really important because otherwise you will be going into this position with your pelvis tipped forwards. So draw your belly up. Inhale. Exhale, flatten your belly, raise the leg. Inhale, foot down. Exhale, flatten your belly, raise the leg. Inhale, down. And again, keep going. Listen to the back of the leg working. The bottom muscles working. Tummy muscles working. Shoulders working too. There's lots happening here. The next time you come up, stay there. Again, outward way with the hands, and this might not be where you're going to go, but if you're happy to work a little harder, take your right arm off the floor, turn the palm off to the left. And again, make sure you're looking down at the floor. Make sure you're still breathing. Don't hold your breath. Hand to the floor, knees to the floor, and come up off your hands. And then we're going to do a bit of work here in a high kneeling position. So knees hip distance apart, hands in prayer. Inhale, exhale, lean back, staying in a straight line from your knees to the top of your head. Inhale, come to neutral. Exhale, lean back. Inhale to neutral. Exhaling again, lean back. Keep going. You'll feel your thighs working, tummy muscles working, and glutes. Make sure you don't tip yourself forward as you do it. Make sure you don't arch your back. So just staying in a straight line. And making that the last time. Then step your right foot forwards. And take your hands down to the floor. So you want your right knee to be above your right ankle. Tuck your toes under in the left foot. And when you're ready to, inhale, lift your left knee, reach back with your left heel. Exhale, bring the knee back down. Inhale, lift the left knee, reach back with your heel. Exhale, knee back down. Inhale, lift the knee, reach back with the heel, stay here. Shoulders away from your ears, breastbone reaching down and forwards. Breathe. And then bring the knee back down, front of the foot flat. We're going to come into a lunge here. So we just warmed up there. Hands on your hips. And just tip your pelvis back a little bit. It's very easy for us to go into a lunge where the pelvis is tipped forward. So pelvis tipped back. And then lunge your body forwards. Arms up, shoulders down. And rotate your arms, the crease of the elbows turn just very slightly behind you. Breastbone lifting. And breathe. So we're coming again to a place where we're stretching the front of the hips. We're going to use the glutes again though here. So inhale. Exhale, squeeze your left buttock. See if you can feel how that releases that front of the hip a little bit more. Inhale, relax. Exhale, squeeze the left buttock. Inhale, relax. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, relax. We're going to come into a twist. So if you take your left hand to the outside of your right thigh, right hand behind you, and turn off to the right. Just giving a little bit more of a length to that side. And breathe deeply. Again, using the breath, long deep breaths to encourage your muscles to let go. So just remember that if you breathe in a shallow way, your body thinks it has to do something, it has to act. Let's be ready for that action. So muscles tense up and tighten up if we breathe in a shallow way. So long, slow breaths, particularly if you want to stretch and release muscles. And come back to center. Take that knee back and the other foot forwards. Hands to the floor. And again, just make sure the knee is above your ankle. Tuck your toes under in the back foot. Inhale, lift your knee, reach back with the heel. Exhale, bring the knee back down. Inhale, lift your knee, reach back with the heel. Exhale, bring the knee back down. And again, lift the knee, reach back with the heel, and stay here. Shoulders away from your ears, breastbone reaching down and forwards, neck relaxed. Long, deep breaths. So again, settling, breathing, observing. And then bring your knee to the floor, front of the foot flat. Arms coming up into a lunge. Actually, no, first of all, we're going to bring the hands onto the hips. Just to be aware, make sure we're not tipping the pelvis forwards. So again, hands on the hips, tip your pelvis back a little bit, and then lunge forwards. Then bring your arms up, shoulders down, rotate your wrists, rotate your arms. So the creases of the elbows again, turn towards your face and very slightly back. And breathe. And again, we're going to use the buttocks, the glutes. So inhale. Exhale, squeeze your right buttock. Observe that. Inhale, relax. Exhale, squeeze your right buttock. Inhale, relax. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, relax. And then exhale, turn to the left. So your right hand comes to the outside of your left thigh, left arm behind you, and come into a twist. And again, breathe deeply. It's a bit of a balance, so just observe your body in this balance. You can close your eyes if you want to make any position more challenging. And come back to center. And come to kneeling. So here we're going to stretch the front of the thighs. And maybe this position is really tight for you. If you feel it's really uncomfortable, you might want to put something underneath your ankles if your ankles are tight, or something behind your knees if your knees and thighs are tight. So first of all, we're going to be doing pelvic tilts here. So inhale. Exhale, tip your pelvis back. Inhale, tip your pelvis forwards. Exhale, tip your pelvis back. Inhale forwards. You'll feel a bit of a stretch in the front of the thighs when you tip your pelvis back. So again, pelvis tips back. Inhale forwards. Again, tip your pelvis back. We're going to go for a little bit more if that feels okay for you. Otherwise, still do the same thing. Either keep going with the pelvis tilts or hands behind you. You may need to have something to raise your hands on. So we're going to do pelvic tilts here. Inhale. Exhale, tip your pelvis back. Inhale, pelvis tips forwards. Exhale, tip your pelvis back. So your bottom muscles are engaging, the front of the thighs are getting a bit of a stretch. Inhale, relax. Tip your pelvis back. And then maybe lift your bottom up off your heels, opening up into a back bend. And stay here. And again, you can squeeze your buttocks so you can get a little bit more of a release in the front of the hips. Breathe deeply. So again here, glutes are working. Front of the thighs are getting a stretch. And come down. And then we're going to come up to standing. So if we come up and come to both feet a little bit wider than hip distance apart. Soften your knees, hands on your hips, and circle your hips. And this is a lovely balancing movement for the pelvis. If you've been in a car for a long time, or if you've been sitting at a desk for a long time, it's a lovely thing to do. You'll feel there's a bit of a sense of release in the front of the hips, but there's also engagement. Side of the hips, buttocks, even pelvic floor. It's getting a good workout. So just maybe close your eyes. Observe. Such a simple exercise, but so many benefits. And take the circle in the other direction. So again, just observing. Then we're going to come to standing against the wall again. So just finishing off. So standing against the wall. And again, bring your hand behind your back. And again, just make sure that there's no flappiness behind your back. So press your lower back into your hands so there's a firmness there. And just observe how that feels. Close your eyes. Observe the gentle engagement in the abdominals to be there. Just take the hand away. Observe how your body is and walk forwards away from the wall. On both feet, standing on both feet equally, still with your eyes closed, just still get that sense of engagement in the abdominal muscles, that memory of how you were standing against the wall without the pelvis tipped forwards. So stay here for a few moments, breathing, observing. And open your eyes. I hope that helps.